Hey you guys, come Saturday. Today I want to go over the details of the first section of the first form of Wing Chun. That's the Sil Lim Tao form, and the first section is the most important form of the most important section of the form. Okay, and Sil Lim Tao is the most important form in the system. All right. Now, some people have a hard time understanding how Wing Chun works. Okay, and they'll spend all kinds of time trying to make their fighting look like Wing Chun. Okay, so people try and punch and they'll throw bong saws out to try and block it, which is stupid because it was never meant for that. All right, a bong saw is like a yielding hand. Okay, some force comes in, too much to handle. Instead of fighting the force with force, you yield and you go around it. All right, but you're always trying to go forward. Something comes in the way, so you try to go forward. So there's no obstruction. You go around it and you keep going. Okay. This forward energy is the single most important thing in the system. All right. Now, instead of looking at superficial things like that, okay, you need to look at what that first form is teaching you. You know, I hear people say it all the time. Everyone knows you're supposed to say it, right? Sil Lim Tao is the most important form. First section is important. Okay, they all know that. But how many people can really explain why it's important? They just say it because they've been told to say it, okay? They don't really understand why. Okay, they only understand it on a very superficial level. All right? Well, I'll tell you why it's important, okay? Because you're developing a forward energy and you're also developing good habits. All right? That forward energy, and now I'm going to go over all the movements in a second, okay? But just understand that what a lot of people, they will often pull back before they go. They'll drop their shoulder before they go. They'll pull, very bad habits. Often people will drop their hands and things, which is obviously a giveaway, and that's an opening for your opponent to hit you. All right, and this is a side note, but when you're training with a partner and you're holding pads for them, okay, the pad holder, you're training too, because people think that only the person doing the punches is training, but the pad holder is training because you are not just you're not just standing here motionless, okay? You are meeting those punches with the pads, okay? And when you see your opponent dropping their hands or whatever, okay, in your mind, you're saying, you know what, I could have hit him there. I could have hit him there. So you're training too, all right? So just remember that. All right, now back to the form. There's a lot of misconceptions about it. I used to hear people say you have to practice the form for 1 hour, all right? So people thought that you would spend an hour just doing it and doing it once for an hour. So you don't move. Master Sunny Tang, a number of years ago, he told me that, back when they were doing the grading, when they started doing gradings and things, formal gradings, I guess it would have been in the 80s, I guess. Because before that, there were no gradings. There were no belts in the Sunny Tang system. But when you start doing it, people would think you had to do the form for an hour. So they stand there, and they don't move. They stand there and just, so what are you going to do? You're going to move 1 inch every 5 minutes? I mean, come on. Let's think about it. What are you going to do? You're going to sit there and do it and sing to yourself? I see a red dawn and I want it painted black. And what are you going to do? Okay, come on. All right. You have to when they say that you're supposed to do it for an hour, it means you spend an hour practicing it. All right. So you might do it 20 times. All right. You may also do drills, form breakdowns. All right. Like there's some sessions here when I do like a jut sao and a finger jab, right? The buji down, up. You may do that 10 times, okay? You work on the whole thing for an hour. That's what he means. That's what Ip Man meant by that. All right, but people thought you literally stand there for an hour doing it once, okay? So no. All right. So how do you do it? Okay, first of all, let's go over what the movements are, okay? Now, okay, first there's an opening, okay? The salutation, hands come up, right? And then as they come up forward, my fingers are not like this up here. They're actually curled down a bit. Because if my hand's like that, and let's say I try and grab someone here, all right, and I try and bring them down. If my hand's up here, I can't do it. I don't have a leverage. But if my hand's here, I can come down. I can bring them down. Okay, so it starts there. Okay, so the salutation, hands, right, come down in a fist and then into your sides, and then you open into your stance. Now, okay, you can't see my feet, but you've seen me do that many times before, right? You open your feet into your stance, the Yi Ji Kim Yun Ma, this goat restraining stance, okay? All right. Now, after you're in your stance here, you do a double low gansao, up, and then into your chamber, okay? Now I do a center line punch, right from the center. Xun Sao, okay? Do another center line punch with my right hand. Xun Sao. And notice my elbow is down. Here's my elbow. See, it's down here. Okay? Okay, now, here's where the main stuff comes in, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my hand forward. My forearm is brushing along my rib cage, and I'm focusing on the outer edge of my forearm here, trying to get that in center. While my elbow in center, you can see. Okay, now I do a Hyun Sao, and I bring it back, and now I'm focusing on this outer edge here. But as I'm going backwards, okay, I'm going backwards, but I'm thinking forward. So imagine someone is pushing me here, but I'm still going forward. As soon as that resistance is gone, I just go forward. Okay, that's the idea. All right. Now I do what we call fuksao hand. So I turned off my hand here. It's kind of loose here, but I'm focusing on the elbow, driving it out. The elbow, the elbow energy. Okay, so when when you punch, right, the elbow drives it. Okay, right here, and again, I come up with a Hunsao again, and then again, it's coming backwards, but I'm thinking forward. Okay, so you do this kind of thing for a long time and really focus on all these things, like focusing on the elbow, focusing on that forward energy, even when I'm going backwards, okay? You do this and you're not going to drop the hands anymore. You're going to always go forward. You're going to always have that aggression. You're going to always, make that work, okay? And then what I do here is I get here, I did the futsal movement three times. I get here, I do a pax out to the side, back to the center, okay, not over here, side, center, and then palm strike forward. Now, when I do, I don't go all the way here, okay? I don't go past my shoulder. Back to center, palm strike forward, right? Thumb is tucked in here, okay? And palm up, Xun Sao, and then back, okay? And I repeat on the right arm, okay? The same thing. Okay, so when you do it in that way, you see how it's very meditative, and it's a form of qigong. And by really focusing on that, that is really the essence of what Wing Chun is all about. Okay, don't worry about trying to make it look like Wing Chun. Okay, the things like that, like having the forward aggression, not pulling your hands back, you could look almost any way you want. I mean, don't try and make it look any way. Okay, you can make it look any way you want. Okay, but you'll have those attributes, those principles. Remember, you're training. Wing Chun is about strategies and attributes, okay, and principles. It's not even about technique, okay. I mean, sure, there are techniques in there, okay, but the most important thing is having those attributes, okay, and those principles and things of the center line and the most efficient path and things like that, okay, and the constant forward aggression, okay? If I get a hit on someone, I'm not going to stand back and admire my work. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to just completely mess him up until he's on the ground and he's completely fucked up, and then I'll know that it's over, okay? Right? That's the thing. You don't stop. Like I said before, if you really want to use this, you have to be a little bit psychotic, right? And people might not want to hear that, but it's true. You need to be a little psycho if you want to actually make this work. You have to be aggressive. You have to really want to fuck up your opponent, okay, beyond all recognition, okay? That's the thing. And not everyone is willing to do that. Not everyone is crazy enough to do that. Luckily, I am, okay? But not everyone is, okay? And if you want to really make it work, you have to. You have to be, okay? Now, when I say you have to be psychotic, when you live your day-to-day life, you know, you don't want to be psychotic. You want to live, you want to be a decent person, okay? But push comes to shove and you have no choice but to fight. You got to go full psycho on the guy, all right? And that's the reason why there's no story about a tiger and a dragon, okay? And the tiger was kind of taunting the dragon, say, "Hey, you know what? I never see you fight. You know, you know, I think you're full of shit. You know, you just sit there talking and talking, but you don't fight. I don't think you can fight at all, right?" And the dragon responds and says, "I choose not to fight, not because I'm scared of what opponents will do to me. I'm scared of what I will do to my opponents. All right, so that's why I choose not to fight. It's like if you're walking around with a loaded 45 in your back pocket, and you know you got a loaded 45 ready to go. You pull it up, you blow someone away. You know you can do it anytime. You're not going to be too reluctant, too willing to use that. Okay, knowing that you have that kind of power, you're not going to want to use it. Okay, so that's the thing. All right. Okay, so that's the section of Sil Lim Tao. Okay, really make it work. Okay, spend a lot of time on that, and that is how you really get the benefit out of Wing Chun. Okay, to really understand how it works. Okay, remember, okay, it's it's all about principles, attributes, and that's basically it. Okay, that is what will make it work. All right. Never mind the superficial crap, okay? This is the stuff that really makes a difference, okay? You're training the elbow energy, the forward energy, the aggression. That's the essence of Wing Chun. That is Wing Chun, all right? So, okay, that's the video. Any questions? As always, let me know. I'm going to have a link for my online course. Remember, I have the Central Line Boxing online course, okay? And the book. So I'm going to have a link for that. And see you guys soon.